Have you ever felt like you're talking, but no one is truly listening? Or maybe you've said something you instantly regretted. We live in a world filled with noise, where everyone is shouting to be heard. But what if the greatest power doesn't come from speaking, but from being silent? Today, I want to share a story with you. An amazing story that reveals why silence is one of the most misunderstood and powerful tools we all possess. Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between rolling hills, lived a young man named Kale. Kale had a big heart and even bigger ideas, but he had one problem. He talked too much. He'd interrupt conversations, finish people's sentences, and offer advice before anyone even asked. He believed that the more he spoke, the more people would see how wise and important he was. But in reality, the villagers grew tired of his constant chatter. They would often smile politely and walk away, leaving Kale feeling confused and lonely. One day, a traveling sage, known for her profound wisdom, visited the village, eager to impress her. Kale approached her and began talking at a mile a minute. He spoke of his philosophies, his plans for the village, and his opinions on everything under the sun. The sage listened patiently, her eyes calm and observant, without saying a single word. When Kale finally ran out of breath, a long, deep silence filled the air between them. It was the longest Kale had been quiet in years, and it felt incredibly awkward. Finally, unable to bear it any longer, Kale blurted out, "Well, aren't you going to say anything? Don't you think my ideas are brilliant?" The sage smiled gently and replied with a soft voice, "You have many leaves on your tree, but I am still waiting to see the fruit. Words are like leaves. They can be plentiful. But silence is the soil where true understanding grows." Kale was stunned. No one had ever spoken to him like this before. The sage continued, "For 1 week, I challenge you. Speak only when you are asked a direct question. Otherwise, remain silent. Listen. Observe." Kale, intrigued and a little humbled, accepted the challenge. The first day was torture. He bit his tongue so many times it was sore. He saw problems he knew how to solve, and conversations where he had the perfect, witty comment, but he held back. Instead of speaking, he watched. He noticed the worried lines on the baker's forehead. He heard the slight hesitation in his friend's voice when talking about his harvest. He saw the way the elders communicated with just a shared glance. For the first time, Kale wasn't just hearing sounds. He was listening to the unspoken language of his community. By the third day, something magical began to happen. Because he was no longer busy planning his next sentence, he was fully present. People, noticing his newfound quietness, started approaching him. The baker, unprompted, shared his worries about his rising flour costs. His friend asked for advice on his struggling crops. The village elders, seeing his patient demeanor, invited him to sit with them and listen to their stories. Kale, speaking only when asked, found that his words, now carefully chosen and few, carried more weight than ever before. People listened intently because his words were now a rare and thoughtful commodity. At the end of the week, Kale found the sage, preparing to leave. He walked up to her, but this time, he waited. The sage turned to him and smiled. "So," she asked, "what have you learned?" Kale took a deep breath. "I learned," he said slowly, "that when I was always talking, I was building walls. But when I was silent, I was building bridges. Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers." The sage nodded, her eyes twinkling. "You have found your power, Kale. Not in your voice, but in your quiet presence." From that day on, Kale was transformed. He still shared his wonderful ideas, but he did so with purpose and timing. He became the person everyone sought for counsel, not because he had all the answers, but because he was the best listener in the village. He learned that silence gives you space to think, to observe, and to understand. It shows respect for others, making them feel seen and valued. It commands attention far more effectively than a loud voice ever could. So, the next time you feel the urge to fill a quiet moment, try embracing it instead. You might be amazed at the power you find in that silence. Thank you so much for joining me on this story today. If this message resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that helps us navigate life with a little more wisdom. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, be well and listen deeply.